Hey guys, it's Shara from Woodshop Diaries, and do you remember this outdoor sofa that I shared a few weeks ago? Well, it's time to build the matching chairs. Okay friends, so if you saw the outdoor sofa video, these pillows may look familiar. I'm using the exact same seat cushions and back cushions for the chair as I did for the sofa. That way they'll match. This is a 24 by 24 seat cushion, but the actual measurements are closer to 23.5 by 23.5. So I'm gonna make this chair, like the seat slats, 23.5 to fit the cushion. And I'm gonna make the side frames exactly the same as the sofa so that it'll fit this pillow on top of this cushion. I've linked the cushion set in the video description below as well as the plans, so let's just dive in and get building. If you caught the outdoor sofa video, this first part may look familiar. Since they're a matching set, the sofa and the chairs, the side frames are literally identical. Same measurements, same angles, same assembly. I cut the pieces for the side frames from cedar 4x4s and the seat support was cut from a cedar 2x4. The front leg is cut square, the back leg is cut with 20-degree miters, and the 2x4 seat support is angled at 4 degrees so that it slopes a little down toward the back. By the way, the printable building plans for both the sofa and these chairs are linked in the video description below if you'd like all the details along with some helpful diagrams and the cut lists. These cedar boards came from the store pretty rough, so I made sure to sand all the pieces well before assembling. I don't want anybody getting splinters when they sit on these. Once the pieces were sanded, I assembled the sides together using pocket holes and screws. Now, I can use standard size pocket holes for the 2x4 boards, but for the 4x4s, a standard size pocket hole isn't the best option. So I used the Craig extra large pocket hole jig that's designed to be used in 4x4s to drill 3.5-inch pocket holes into the ends of the top 4x4 pieces. Then I could assemble the sides together using 4-inch extra large pocket hole screws in the 4x4. And then just regular 2.5-inch blue coat pocket hole screws in the 2x4. With the sides assembled, it was time to add the back frame post that will hold the back slats. I beveled the end 20 degrees and lined up the edge with the bottom of the 2x4 on the inside of the frame. I lined up the front edge with the corner where the 2x4 meets the back leg. Then I pre-drilled holes to drive 4.5-inch timber screws to secure. Make sure that the back post is nice and tight before moving on. After one side was assembled, I made another one just like it, only mirrored. One side will be the left and one side will be the right of the chair. So on the sofa build, I added 2x2s. This is not a 2x2, but just for visual purposes. I added 2x2s on the back here on the inside of each side brace to be able to screw the back slats into. However, since the chair is so much narrower, I feel like it's going to look weird if I add 2x2s on the back here because the distance in between is going to be so small. I just feel like it's going to look weird. So I actually have a piece of 2x4. I'm going to rip it into like 3/4 inch wide strips. And I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that that'll be enough that I can add here to screw the back slats into. I'll have to pre-drill and make sure I don't split anything, but hopefully that'll be enough without it looking like super bulky. I needed something to screw the back slats into, so I cut 1x2s to line the inside of the back posts on the side frames. I just screwed these in 1.5 inches from the front edge so that I can place the slats on them later and they'll be flush across the front. Once these 1x2s were in place, all that's left is adding the seat and back slats. So I cut 5 2x4s for the seat slats and 3 for the back slats for each chair and sanded them well. Then I drilled pocket holes into the ends of the seat slats, but I didn't install these just yet. When I built the sofa, I found it a little challenging to get into all the little nooks and crannies and between the slats with my brush. So when I built the chairs, I decided to seal the slats and the side frames separately before attaching them together. Now that the pieces were sealed and dry, I finished up the chair by installing the slats. I used pocket holes and screws to secure the front 2x4 support between the 2 front legs about 12 inches up from the bottom. Then I secured the back seat slat so that it's against the back post and flush to the top of the 2x4 on the side frame. I flipped this over and attached these 2 boards to the other side of the chair before installing the 3 other seat slats between them. I just evenly spaced the rest of these, just eyeballed it. I didn't actually measure anything. And then I secured them in place with pocket hole screws. Now, full disclosure, it's going to be incredibly tough to get this chair to sit perfectly flat. It's quite rigid, and it's very likely that your boards aren't going to be perfectly square unless you take the time to plane and join them all first. So if you flip it over and it rocks on your workbench or on your shop floor, like mine did, don't panic. It's very likely that if you put this on your deck, your porch, or patio, those surfaces aren't going to be flat anyway, so even if your chair was perfect, they'd probably still rock wherever you put them. So we'll come back in a minute and add some levelers to the feet. For now, I measured the distance between the back posts and it was actually a little smaller than I had originally cut my back slat pieces, so I trimmed them to fit. Then I installed these to the 1x2s. I was actually worried that these 1x2s weren't going to work for this being so thin, but thankfully they did. But I highly recommend pre-drilling pilot holes to help prevent splitting. I also recommend kind of drilling these and driving them at a slight angle toward the back post so that you don't accidentally get too close to the edge of the 1x2 boards. Once the back slats were secured, I test fit the cushions and gave them a test run. Thumbs up. Honestly, at this point, if it hadn't fit, I don't know what I would have done. The very last detail was installing some feet levelers. So I bought these feet levelers and they come with this insert here and this foot screws into it, and they're supposed to be outdoor rated, so hopefully they are and they didn't lie to me. But I'm just going to install this insert in here and then I can screw the feet in and adjust them as needed. So these didn't come with any instructions, but I grabbed a 5/16 bit and that looks about the same size as the, like, this piece. So I'm gonna drill the hole and then hammer this in, and that's all there is to it. So now, when I set my chairs down on any unlevel surface like my shop floor. If it rocks a little, I can adjust the feet. So that it doesn't. But I guarantee if I move it right over here, I'm gonna have to adjust differently because every floor is different. See? Perfect. Or not perfect, and that's the point. Now it's time to drag these outside for photos and finish shots before taking them to my parents' house. I seriously love how the sofa and these matching chairs came out. I know that my parents will get many years of use out of them and they're going to look so good on their back patio. Even Bubby loves them. I really hope you enjoyed watching this project come together and I can't wait to see you again next project. Thanks so much for watching, friends, and until next time, happy building!